Happy Saturday, First Congregational friends. When you look at the land behind me, you see trees, some grass, but there's more to the story of this land. The land remembers something important about Black history in Eugene. More about this at the end of the video. Sunday is coming, and tomorrow we'll be finishing our series on earthy wisdom, looking at the parable of the barren fig tree. So two Sundays on a fig tree. Also, after the Sunday service, we have our congregational meeting where we'll be approving the budget for 2026. So I hope you can join us after worship as well. Rather than lingering on the subject of tomorrow's sermon, though, I want to point ahead to Lent. Very excited about our new series. Alongside the worship series, we'll also have small groups forming and a special podcast that I've been filming. So here's a little taste of the revamped Converging Paths podcast.
Converging Paths. Converging Paths.
Welcome back, friends, to the Converging Paths podcast. I'm your host, Eric Elnes, and in this series, we're calling it The Inner Work, and we're exploring the 7 deadly sins and 7 lively virtues, not as moral behaviors or scorecards, but rather as a way of naming the inner pressures that shape how we show up in the world, and especially in anxious and divided times. Joseph Epstein, the writer, once said that of the 7 deadly sins, envy is the only one that's no fun at all. There's just no aspect of envy that.
Wait.
Yeah.
I gotta put a flag on a play. I don't agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get to that because I haven't introduced you yet either. This is Rabbi Brian Mayer again joining us, and our Zen Buddhist teacher Esther Frankel Tishman. It's good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
But,
we've got a flag on the play.
Yeah. Well, let's go with the flag, Rabbi. You're going to see flags on the play, and some push and some pull, and a lot of deep agreement, but always great multi-faith wisdom on what burdens us and what lightens our load. Now, as to the land behind me, this land is a park, a work in progress to be sure, but a park that is dedicated to the memory of Mattie Reynolds. When in the 1940s, when Sam and Mattie Reynolds first moved from Shreveport, Louisiana to Eugene, they were looking for greater opportunity they had found in segregated Louisiana. But as the third Black family, only the third to move to Eugene, they found life pretty difficult and were excluded from housing in the area, being forced to live outside of the city limits. They would be joined in later years by families moving down from Portland after the war industries closed, but found themselves excluded from housing in the city limits, so they also moved to that area. But in 1949, the city wanted to build the Ferry Street Bridge, so those families were forced off of that land. So many families moved actually into this area right here, west off of 11th Street. It was an area of cheap land, but also no services like running water, and was prone to flooding. People were expected simply to endure here, but Mattie Reynolds did a lot more than endure. She actually founded a church, the Ferry Street Chapel, which became the first church of the African American community in Eugene. And it was a place where family members said we could take off our masks and just be ourselves. Mattie is said to have been a mother to 12 children, but raised many more. She regularly took kids into her house, and with only an 8th grade education, tutored them, and also tutored them specifically in nonviolent resistance, helping them move into the civil rights movement and insisting on nonviolence and protecting them when things got out of hand. She opened her house to many. She was well known for her love of nature, of fishing on the river, and of creating some of the world's best barbecue. And the teens, even white teens in the neighborhood, came over regularly to indulge in her famous biscuits. And Mattie would continue her work for civil rights in Eugene over the years, working for opening up housing, labor employment. She actually, her efforts to open up housing in the area was joined by a group that formed a spinoff of the city council called Civic Unity that actually had a member from our church serving on it. And that council worked for 9 years to petition neighborhoods, work with realtors to get black folks accepted just in white neighborhoods. Well, later in 1968, Mattie would run for city council. And while she achieved just a narrow defeat, the narrowness of that defeat was really a signal of the way things were changing in Eugene at the time. Well, this park that bears Mattie's name is more than nostalgia, more than decoration. It is memory and repair. It's a work in progress, but it reminds us that sometimes survival can also become service. Mattie's descendants still live in Eugene and Springfield, and they are still working for justice and the common good in Eugene. Now, if you walk this land with intention, you are reminded that you are walking on sacred ground. The prophet Micah once said, "What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with our Lord?" Mattie Reynolds did just that. Well, I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and why not bring a friend?